Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at whether next week's 10 days or today's second video will be able to take us to around the 22nd of July. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles, which run to around a couple of weeks. We'll start off bringing you up to date with all of the latest developments with Tropical Storm Barry. So I'll be talking about that very shortly. Just say that JMA Friday has been released. That's your month ahead look at. And it's taking us into the early part of August, actually. So we're beginning to run down the clock now towards the latter part of the summer, can you believe, with the month ahead forecast. A bit of a mixed bag. Have a look at JMA Friday and see what's going on there. Right, got a lot to talk about for this video. So we're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic and in the Gulf. So that just there, heading in towards the Louisiana coast, is Tropical Storm Barry. Let's see what the National Hurricane Center are saying about Barry at the moment. So, Tropical Storm Barry is giving, as of 7 a.m. CDT, Friday, July the 12th, it's giving maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour and has a minimum central pressure of 998 millibars. It's moving west-northwest at 5 miles an hour. This is the forecast track for Tropical Storm Barry just here. So that's its current position. It's forecast to push northwards over the next few hours into the state of Louisiana. There's Missouri just there. And, of course, there's the massive state of Texas over there. So it's in between Missouri and Texas, pushing through Louisiana. And then still it's a tropical storm quite a way inland across Louisiana, will affect New Orleans, I'm afraid, with torrential rain. I think rain could be the issue with this, actually, more so than wind. I think rain could be pretty serious down there in Louisiana. And then it pushes northwards into Arkansas, I think, as we go into the early part of next week. Going down to tropical depression then, and then going post-tropical as it pushes even further northwards up towards the Midwest. So it doesn't look like it's going to make it to hurricane status. You'll notice that we've got these S's just here. That's telling us we've got a tropical storm. So it doesn't look as though this is going to go up to hurricane status, but I think it will be a very, very close run thing as to whether it remains a tropical storm or whether it does go up to Category 1 hurricane. But it looks as though it's going to stay as a tropical storm. So that means that the winds will be quite strong, undoubtedly. But it also means that rain could well be the big issue with Barry. So these are the latest key messages that the National Hurricane Center are putting out there about this storm. So key messages for Tropical Storm Barry: Advisory 8 issue 4 a.m. CDT on Friday the 12th of July 2019. They're saying there is a danger of life-threatening storm surge inundation along the coast of southern and southeastern Louisiana, where a storm surge warning is in effect. The highest storm surge inundation is expected between Intercoastal City and Shell Beach. Residents in those areas should listen to any advice given by local officials. Point 2, that's point 1. Point 2, the slow movement of Barry will result in a long duration, heavy rainfall and flood threat along the central Gulf Coast and inland through the lower Mississippi Valley through the weekend and into early next week. Flash flooding and river flooding will become increasingly likely, some of which may be significant, especially along and east of the track of the system. Point 3, hurricane conditions are expected along a portion of the coast of Louisiana where a hurricane warning has been issued. Residents in those areas should rush their preparations to completion as tropical storm conditions are expected to arrive in the warning area by Friday morning. So it's very, very close and bearing down on Louisiana. So it's going to be very impactful, this, undoubtedly. So anybody, and we do have people watching from America, anybody who's watching this around the area of Louisiana, especially if you're towards that coastal area, you do need to take all of the relevant precautions, and you need to take care, because it's going to be a very nasty system indeed as it moves out of Gulf and up into that Louisiana coastal area. So good luck to anybody that's in the path of Tropical Storm Barry, and obviously keep an eye on your warnings from NOAA and from the National Hurricane Center. It's going to be pretty nasty. Just go back to this chart and have a look at what this yellow X is doing. So this is a disturbance area just here. We saw that yesterday. It's still there today. It's disturbance 1. It's got a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. National Hurricane Center are saying a tropical wave located nearly 1,000 miles west-southwest of the Cape Verde Islands continues to produce a small area of showers and thunderstorms. Some development of the wave is possible during the next day or so, while it moves westwards at 15-20 miles an hour. Environmental conditions are expected to become unfavourable for development by Sunday. So it only has a 20% low chance of becoming a tropical cyclone in the next 48 hours, a 20% chance of doing so in the next 5 days. So at the moment, it doesn't look as though this disturbance area is going to do very much, but obviously we'll be keeping a close eye on that one too. Things are now starting to develop in the tropical Atlantic, of course, as you would expect at this time of the year. We begin to move into the hurricane season, which reaches its peak, of course, in September and October. Right, let's come back close home, and this central temperature is looking provisional up to the 11th of July. We're sitting at 16.6, an anomaly of 0.8 of a degree above average. So we're a little bit above average now for the central England temperature, and probably going to tick up a little bit more over the next day or two. So we may get to around 17.0 as our peak with the CET this month, but then it might tick back down again, actually, as we go into the second half of next week, because it does look as though it could turn cooler and more unsettled into the second half of next week. I'm certainly not seeing a particularly big deviation with the CET this month. So, I mean, we may come out a little bit above average, but we're certainly not going to have a particularly hot July. I think we can say that pretty definitively. Now, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Reading today. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Reading. We're starting off quite close to average at the moment. We're going to go a bit cooler, actually, over the weekend into the start of next week. Then a bit of a tick up later next week before it drops a little bit towards the end of next week. And then go into the final sort of week or so of July, this period just here. And we still have the uncertainty about this period. So you'll notice there are still these hot outlier members appearing within the GFS ensembles, telling us that there is a chance that the final sort of days of July, within the final week, might turn very hot. But also equally, we've got these much cooler outlier members down here. So there's an equal chance that it could actually turn very cool in the final week of July. So it's really uncertain, actually, this last week of July, what is going to happen. What we can say is that for a time around 24th, 25th of July, this period just here, we do see a tick up in the temperature. It might get quite warm there, but it certainly looks as though any chance of really hot weather is a low risk at the moment. It's a low chance, and it's equally possible that it might actually turn very, very cool during that period. Precipitation-wise, a lot of dry weather coming up over the next few days. Towards the second half of next week, though, turning much more unsettled. This might bring the first really proper rain into the south that we've had since back in June, actually, some southern parts of the country. So that period from around the 18th to, say, the 21st of July could be the wettest phase that we've had so far this month. Beyond that, it looks as though it's going generally a little bit drier again, although still showery, particularly as we go towards month's end. Temperature anomalies from the 12th to 20th of July, very close to average, not a big deviation either way. Precipitation anomalies are also very close to average. So I did the video about this yesterday, saying that this July has so far been quite an averagey sort of month and likely to continue that way. I think the anomalies here are masking quite a north-south divide, however. So although the anomalies are always looking very close to average, what seems to be going on from what you're telling me this month is that up in the north you're having a very, very poor July, and some of you are thinking that this is the worst July you've had since 2012. Across the north, whereas down in the south, actually having a very, very good July. I'm being told that, or good if you like, dry and warm weather. I'm being told that down in the southwest and down in the Channel, you're pretty much in a drought now. So where I am in Northants, it's kind of like been a very averagey sort of July. It's been a pleasant month, never excessively hot, and pretty dry. So it appears that the further south you go, the drier and warmer it's becoming. With this month, so it's one of those months where the north seems to be rather unlucky, and the south seems to be cashing in with warm and dry weather. But that might start to change a little bit next week. Let's have a look. This is how the GFS is looking. The Monday, we're all under a ridge of high pressure on Monday to start next week, so a lot of dry weather coming up then. Now, high pressure stays with us into Tuesday, but starts to weaken by Wednesday. Low pressure heading back into the north, bringing more wet weather into northern parts of the country. The south still under the ridge, mainly dry on Wednesday. But through Thursday and Friday, all areas then are turning unsettled. This is Friday the 19th of July. It's a week away. And all areas are looking much more unsettled now, with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, bringing showers or longer spells of rain. Up towards day 10, that's how we look. So a bit of a ridge building in the south, low pressure out to the north and the west. That's starting to pull up some quite warm air from the south, actually. But really unstable. We go on another day to Tuesday the 23rd of July, and then low pressure's heading in off the Atlantic. It might be a bit thundery, that, actually, but the main thing is the low pressure driving in off the Atlantic, so that looks pretty unsettled. And then this GFS run keeps it unsettled into the closing days of July. That's where we finish up on Sunday the 28th of July, and we're looking really unsettled then, with low pressure parked over Scotland, but all areas would have showers or longer spells of rain. And if you follow the isobars back, the air originates from up here, comes around that low pressure. So obviously, that's not only is unsettled, but it's also pretty cool as well. GEM starts us off with high pressure next week, and that high pressure sticks around for a while, but through the middle of next week begins to get broken down, especially to the north and the west. But it's not till the second half of next week this low pressure properly breaks through, and that will bring wet weather even into southern parts of the country in the second half of next week. Then it stays unsettled. Beyond that, we head up towards day 10. That's how we're looking. It's Monday the 22nd of July. So low pressure is out to our west-southwest. High pressure is to our south. We're drawing up quite a warm, maybe even fairly hot southerly wind, but it looks really unstable, and this low pressure, we could roll on another day, will be heading in that direction. Perhaps bringing thunder, but also bringing much more unsettled and wetter conditions back from off the Atlantic too. Looks pretty volatile, that. This is the ECM. Again, Monday, we're under that ridge of high pressure, looking quite dry and fairly warm. High pressure still sticking around on Tuesday, beginning to weaken on Wednesday, but still high pressure for the south, for the north and west is turning more unsettled. And then low pressure breaks through in the second half next week. So this time next week, we're likely to be seeing showers or longer spells of rain across many, many parts of the country under that area of low pressure. And then heading up towards day 10, we keep it unsettled. Although on day 10, or at day 10, we are building up this very slight transient bump of high pressure. But, I mean, we've got lots of low pressure in the Atlantic. There's low pressure there. And this low pressure just here is interesting. I think that could well contain the remains of what is currently Tropical Storm Barry. It's coming out of America, getting caught up in the jet stream. That possibly has an impact on our weather a few days on from Monday the 22nd of July. We shall see. But the upshot is, whether we get any impacts from what is currently Tropical Storm Barry or not, the upshot is it does look as though things are turning increasingly unsettled through the course of next week and heading up into the week beyond. Let's have a look at the ECM ensembles next. So this is the option that we have at day 10. Via the Icelandic Met Office, we have got, this is 22nd of July, of course, day 10, we've got 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles looking like this. They have above average heights to the north around Green, blocking up to the north, high pressure down to our south-east as well. Low pressure is in the Atlantic, and so all members are really agreeing that we're bringing an Atlantic flow through and looking rather changeable, rather showery, rather changeable. All ECM ensemble members seem to be going in that direction for day 10. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 27th of July. So we have 22 members of the ECM ensembles with above average heights centred over top of the country. That's summer. So jet streams push northwards up there. That will bring us dry, fine, potentially very warm, maybe even quite hot weather with those 22 ECM ensemble members. We've got 19 that have high pressure down to our southwest. So they're doing something a bit like that with jet stream. Perhaps a little bit showery, but not too bad. And then there's 10, so it's a minority option, but a much more unsettled with low pressure just out to our west. Obviously bring the jet stream through. They're the most unsettled ensemble members within the ECM ensembles at day in 2 weeks' time. And that does include the ECM control run as well. So looking rather changeable, rather showery at day 10. Perhaps a few hints that we're going towards high pressure in 2 weeks' time. But it's a really long way off, and it does look fairly uncertain. Then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is CFSV2 for August. So this is the 700 millibar height anomaly from the CFSV2 for August. It's going for a hot month today. Look at this, above average height centred right over top of the UK with below average heights out to the northwest. The flow of the jet will be going something like that. We'll be drawing up very warm air from the south with that ridge of high pressure. There's our temperature anomaly looking hot. Yes, we're in those red colours on the scale. That's taking us between 1 and 2, maybe a little bit more, degrees above average. So hot with the temperature anomaly for August today from the CFSV2. Precipitation-wise, well, as usual, no particular signal, but of course with a ridge centred pretty much over top of the UK, just to our south and east, you would expect a drier than average month, really. So CFS is going to town on the chance of a hot August, but of course with things so unreliable and so uncertain for the rest of July, I think there has to be a big health warning with that for August. But it would tie in with Gaz Weather's summer forecast, which always pointed towards August being the hottest and driest month of this summer. So we shall see about that. Coming back to the more reliable time frame, which is the next week to 10 days. So we're going to have a lot of dry weather to start next week. Gradually turns more unsettled, so that by this time next week, we should all be seeing showers or longer spells of rain, and quite a bit cooler as well. And as we go into the following week, that's where the uncertainty is creeping in. But overall, it does look like it's still quite changeable to me within the model output today. So we shall see how it all develops over the next few days. Tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow we've got the weekend forecast, and we have also got a week's 10-day video update for you as well. Probably something for festivals tomorrow too. People are asking me about Camp Festival, which is going to be taking place in the last weekend of July. So I may do something about that, something for Camp Festival tomorrow, as people are asking me about it, although it's quite a long way off. And then as we go through to Sunday, we've got some more autumn analogues for you and Gaz Weather's sunny roundup. So it's going to be a busy old weekend of updates. Do keep checking back for more. But that's all for now. And thanks for watching.